Welcome, and thank you, Gina, for agreeing to come and speak to me at such late hour for you. And I'm really honored that you agreed. And I'm really pleased and curious what is going to come up from this conversation.
I am too. Thank you for having me on.
Welcome. So I want to find out, why did you start it on your journey? What happened? What made you to decide to actually, well, you know what? I want to do something different in my life and study emotion code. So if you can take us back a little bit to the start of your journey.
So it all started in 2020, right as the pandemic was beginning. Was February of 2020 when I discovered that I had thyroid cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 days before that, I had asked my husband for a divorce. So
Oh, wow.
My life was pretty much, what am I going to do? I don't want to be in this marriage. And I'm not, I have this cancer in my body. So my plan of my attack was I decided not to listen to the doctor, not to get my thyroid removed. I decided to go to Mexico to get integrative holistic treatment. And that's where I learned about energy healing. So now fast forward a couple of months, a month or two, and I ended up leaving my marriage, just got separated. And then a month later, I left a 28-year career as a flight attendant. I loved my job, but it was an opportunity to leave and move to something else. I did not know what I would do for work. So I was in a limbo state, and a lot of the emotion code didn't come to me for like 7 months later. And how it came to me was through an email for someone else leading me to their book. I discovered this other book, The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. He's a chiropractor, retired chiropractor, who came up with this system to speak to the subconscious mind using kinesiology or muscle testing and help release trapped emotions that are in our body. And it appealed to me from what I had read, a little bio around what it was about. And I was like, the light bulb went off in my head. I was like, oh my God, this idea of having a heart wall is exactly why I had to leave my marriage, because I had a heart wall up with my husband, and there was a communication was horrible. There was no connection. And there was just this huge, literally an energy wall between us that was keeping us from being happy. And for both of us. And when I heard this mentioned in the book, I was like, it was just a hook, because I knew that this was something that I had already had a strong intuition about in the marriage. And that's why I had to leave. That was one thing. And then the other thing was, at the same time I discovered the book, I had come up with a Venn diagram of 3 things that were important for transformation and coaching, for a coaching program, a group coaching program that I have an idea for. And one of them, the first pillar, is about release. You have to release the past so that you can be present, and then you can start to create the life that you want. And so that's where, something like what you're doing, hypnosis, comes into handy, because you need those tools to be able to create the next better version of yourself. So the part that I do is I release the trapped emotions from the past. There's 6 different types of trapped emotions, and the past can be anywhere from your own life, your own experience of life. It can be from a time when you were in your mom's womb and you start to feel the emotions of your mom and your dad. It can also come inherited. You can get these emotions trapped in your body from your ancestors. And more amazing to me is that you can bring these emotions in from past lives. Another really cool thing is that inherited trapped emotions can be traced all the way back to where it started from your mom or your dad. When I clear it from your body, it releases from them. Even if they're deceased, the energy is released from all of your ancestors up, and as well as the legacy that has yet to be created. So your children get free of this energy. It's hugely impactful.
There's
Yeah.
so much to unpack from what you just said.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of made the notes as you were speaking. So emotions are important, and I think what I've learned, and I'm sure that you will agree with me, that all the emotions are important. There are no bad or good emotions, but I think as humans we are conditioned to label them as good as bad. And if we feel angry or frustrated, we try to avoid to feel those emotions. When we feel hurt or disappointed, but the problem with that, then we trap those emotions in our body, and unfortunately sooner or later they will cause havoc. I even yesterday had a conversation with someone about importance of feeling and allowing yourself to feel what you feel, because that person I spoke to didn't, and a year later paid a massive price. She said, I just crushed and burned totally, because now I realize what I did. I did not allow myself to grieve. Something happened in her life and she didn't allow to herself. I just put a happy face on and just go on with life. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. We need to feel those emotions. And like you do, release trapped emotions. I do it slightly differently because obviously I use hypnosis, but it's kind of the same principle. It's going to, in a past, find the root cause of the issue that we are facing with, because it's only a presenting issue, not the actual problem, because we've got a scoping mechanism, and release them. It's about identifying the core issue, dealing with it, and letting go, because living in the past causes so much problems.
It does. Yeah. I like what you said about labeling them good or bad. What I find with emotions, which scientifically can be measured,
Mm-hmm.
the lowest emotion frequency is shame at 20
Mm-hmm.
hertz. And so I think it's more important for us to look at emotions as being constrictive or expansive. And the
Yeah.
lower frequency emotions, like shame, anger, guilt, sorrow, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is a big one right now. All of those lower frequency emotions keep us constricted and out of alignment with our true essence, our true self. So once we break through the emotions from 200 hertz at courage and above, we start to step into the higher frequencies where our lives can actually feel more in alignment with more joy, more love and peace, and just also improve our immune system. When our cells
Mm-hmm.
are vibrating at a higher frequency, then we are happier and healthier, and we can start to manifest the life that we want.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, fear is such a powerful emotion to feel, because I do my best not to experience fear, because I know how bad that is for my immunity. It activates the flight and fight response, and we know what that causes to, in terms of havoc in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
But what you also said in your earlier part of our conversation is we even feel our emotions from the time that we were in the womb. And I've had sessions when my clients went into the time when they were still in the mother's womb, and that always blows my mind, because they really do feel, especially in the last trimester,
Mm-hmm.
the emotions that mom is experiencing. It's so important. We feel like we think, oh, it's fine, the wee baby is not hearing. They do hear. They absolutely do, and they soak up every word that you are saying.
Yeah, and it's not so much even hearing it, they're sensing it.
Yeah.
They sense the emotions or the mood. And I wonder what it feels like to be a baby and to feel it, if it's a heartbeat thing, or, like there's some kind of a cue or communication that's going on when you're in the womb.
Yeah.
That's amazing
Yeah.
to think about.
Yeah, it probably explain this a little bit better. It's like, but they really do sense what's going on around them. So it's so important to be in tune with your body and what the body is telling you. We live in a society that is pushing us to do more and achieve more and work more than we really designed to do, without actually listening to our body. So we push through the tiredness. I've done it. I'm as guilty as anyone. I pushed and pushed and pushed to the body to the point my body said, well, actually, you know what? I had enough. I'm going to make sure that you're going to stop. So I remember it was obviously a few years ago when I finished university. I was on a go for about 4 years. It was a 4 very intense year because I still worked. I had a house, and I was still with my ex-partner, and full-time course. It was a lot to take on. So when I eventually stopped, I submitted my last coursework, and I've literally, just like that, over a course of 2 hours, went from on a high vibe, I was absolutely feeling amazing, to being at the doctor's, sent off homework with antibiotics for a week.
Wow, that's something. Was it stress related?
I think it was, I've abused my body for 4 years. It was about go. I literally worked 7 days a week for 4 years, because I was either working at university, or I was working, or I was doing some housework or whatever. So when I eventually slowed down and stopped, my body was like, all right, we can stop now. I'll make sure that you will do stop. And I was really in bed for a week.
Wow.
Horrible. So it's so important to be in tune. I've learned this the hard way. To be really in tune and listen to our body. If we do not feel right, okay, why am I feeling like this? Have I pushed too hard? Or am I just being trying to be lazy? It's finding that balance between, am I just trying to put the snooze button because I can't be bothered to get up, as Coach Lisa says, or I'm actually abusing my body here. And I think that is really important.
And what I've learned through going to Mexico and learning about many different types of healing modalities is that our bodies talk to us, and there's a reason why we get sick or we get pains on the side of the body or in a location in the body. And for me, having papillary thyroid cancer, that was my message. The shouting at my body was shouting at me that I needed to start to speak up and to come into my truth. So it's crazy how we learn through disease and pain.
And that's just when we do not listen to ourselves. But with what you just said, what is your perspective on unconscious mind? Because how we show up in our lives is based upon all those habits and beliefs and ways of being that became habitual, automatic over the years, and usually stem from the past, because we created a interpretation and meaning to certain things that happened to us, and then we created an image of ourselves and the world. How do you think, from your perspective, is the connection between what happened to you and maybe your past, in terms of not speaking up about who you are and what you want?
So actually everything that I have experienced in my life, I have created. And I know exactly the day that I shut my voice down, and it was the day before I got married. We were having a party with our family, and I had started to gather people, and we were going to say a prayer, and my ex-husband said, let me do the prayer, because when you say the prayer, you go on and on and on and on. And I was like, oops. And I just felt it was a criticism that hurt me, that I was like, I talk too much. I express myself too much. I let my feelings out, too much. So I just like shut down, and I was like, I'm going to be like, you're talking about identity and who you think you are. And in my mind, I said, well, a good wife listens to her husband and is quiet and doesn't, rock the boat and doesn't make waves. And so I became that person for over 20 years. And so that's why this was just like, stop it already, stop
Yeah.
it. My
It's
thyroid was screaming.
and
Yeah.
it's so important, it's so powerful what you just said, because you dimmed your light
Mhm.
based upon that event, that you created certain meaning and interpretation,
Right.
that however many years was between that event and your divorce and your health issues. But it's so important because it became an automatic behavior. Am I right? The way
Yes.
you were constantly
Yeah.
dimming
I
your
changed.
voice.
I shut myself down. I became a different person. And also, I created the cancer because a few years before having it, I had watched one of my favorite doctors, Dr. Mark Hyman, talk
Mhm.
in an interview with the people at Sanofi, the medical institution that I went to in Mexico. And they showed this beautiful resort on the beach and all of this. And I said, oh my God, if I ever get sick, I want to go there. So, boom, I went there.
This is how powerful self-talk is. Like, you
Yes.
have to be so careful
Yeah.
what you wish for.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this in the past because I remember when I was a teenager, I didn't have any eye problems, and my friend was wearing those cool glasses, and I'm like, oh, I want them. Well, guess what? Not long after, I needed to start wearing glasses.
Right.
So it's so powerful how we talk to ourselves. Can
Yeah.
you tell me from along that journey, because it's such a powerful journey that you went through,
Mhm.
what have you learned about yourself, and based on that, what would you advise anyone out there? What would be your biggest advice?
Wow, I learned so much. Are you talking about the cancer, what I learned,
You
or
choose
anything in general?
what's the lesson that you've learned and you would like to pass on?
I think the lesson I want to share right now is that even if you don't know how you're going to survive, or how, like, what you're going to do for work, or how you're going to afford to live, you have to just do it. If you overthink, then, and you don't tap into your intuition, you just don't know, have an inner knowing that everything's going to work out okay. It
Mhm.
always does. And I think too many people stay in an unhappy marriage or in a job that's unfulfilling because they don't know what else is possible for them. And so much is possible. You just have to take a leap, and things will work out.
That's beautiful message.
Yeah, thanks.
And I
Yeah.
totally agree. I absolutely totally agree, because I have made moves in my life without actually knowing how the hell am I going to make this work. And I did. I absolutely did. Um, you talk about embracing full potential. Can you tell me what that means to you?
Well, that's a great question. Because I am still working on embracing it. There's so many things. To me, your full potential is unlimited, is limitless, because we are all so much bigger and more powerful than we even know. Most of us just see ourselves in our bodies as, this is who I am, this is me, this is what I do. I identify as my career or my roles as a mom, as a wife, or whatever. But
Mhm.
when we push all of that stuff away and we really see the true essence of our soul, and it's just, we can do and have whatever we want in our lives, because whatever one person has, somebody that you look up to, whatever they have that you want is
Mhm.
attainable for you as well, because we're all sharing the same energy field. And some people just know how to tap into that energy, better than others. And part of it is their thoughts, their emotions, their habits, like you're talking about. All of those things are really important. And just to really know who you are on a subtle level, like how amazing you are, that you can do anything, but then to build the habits and to build the structures that you need, the support you need to surround yourself with other people that are going in your direction so that you can lift each other up. There are many, many different facets that are important in creating the best version of yourself. But I think the first thing you do is just to realize that you can have whatever you want.
And that is so beautiful, because we absolutely can have everything that we want and desire. And the only person that stands in the way of that is us.
Yes.
And when I kind of finally realized that, it was like a 2x4 hit me right in between my eyes. Because as I'm learning and growing, and I will for the rest of my life, I realize how powerful I am, and I am the creator of my reality through my thoughts and the words that I say to myself. And I'm just literally finishing listening to the book How to Talk to Yourself, or something like that.
Yes, by Shad Helmstetter.
Yes.
Yes.
And I find this book absolutely powerful, because he talks about this subtle, very subtle ways we talk to ourselves. And he's beautifully explaining that we can catch ourselves on a spot and move our attention to what we want. So, like, to give you an example, I was prospecting, and I was like, I don't really want to do it. Okay, I just literally caught myself on the spot. Evelina, focus, you can do it. Another half an hour and you can go with your day. And I did. And my energy shifted, and I focused, and I did what I needed to do. But if I say like, can't be bothered, I really don't want to do it, I'm tired, just gonna go and sit outside, I probably would.
Right. And I think it's important for people who've never had a coach before to see a different perspective in their lives through someone else's life. I mean, through someone else's eyes. Like when you're working with a coach,
Yes.
They can pinpoint, they hear your words that you don't,
Yeah.
And they can catch you, and they can teach you how to reframe, how to see things in a different perspective. And I think that's the key to growing, is you need someone who can witness you and advise you on ways of being at a higher level.
That is beautiful, because the coach is someone who is like another pair of eyes.
Yes.
That can spot things that we don't necessarily see it, because our ego is trying to protect us, and it will hide things from us. And the way we are, it's not all conscious to us. A lot of it is unconscious and automatic, built over years. We don't even know that we are a certain way, because we're unaware. It's so automatic for us that I have been pointed away in a past. I was like, no, I'm not. What are you on about? Because I didn't see it. So it's good to have someone else pointing to us. Well, actually, how about this perspective? How is that sounding to you?
Right.
And that's what hypnosis is all about as well, because in hypnosis, I have, so to speak, a coaching session, but I'm talking to unconscious mind, not the conscious ego mind. And that conversation is a lot more powerful, because I'm talking to the source. It's where we can mismantle those beliefs, shift perspectives, and build a new way of being. And I find that incredibly powerful.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And what you do is powerful as well, because I had a session with you as well. And I found it really powerful. Can you talk more about that? How working with you can help someone?
Sure. So in lines with the subconscious mind. I think it's just incredible that our subconscious mind remembers everything.
Yep.
It remembers things that we don't remember. And a lot of times in the sessions that I'm working with someone, I'll get something that happened to them, a lot of things that happened when they were 3 years old. Something major happened when they were 3 years old. They don't remember it. And so they don't have to remember it in my session, but it's kind of like a light bulb, like for them, like what happened. So it encourages them to seek out from their family, like what happened to me when I was 3 years old, that I was feeling resentment or anger or, all of these things. What was going on? And so it's very insightful. Also, like for an example is today I worked with a lady who's going through a divorce, and the intention that she set for a session was to she gets triggered by her husband that she's divorcing, and she wants to have better communication with him. Well, come to find out everything. So like the things that come out in a session are just like, wow. So for her, she had so much insight that the way that she is reacting to his outbursts, his anger, is only a reflection of what he is putting out. So she was sharing and absorbing his emotions, and that was the cycle that was happening between them. And instead I was able to help her see that and know that she can make a decision or a choice not to feed into his insecurities. So the information is all there. She saw the emotions that's going on. She got to see what the reason was that she's not able to have a civilized conversation with him. So there was some coaching, in there as well, because it gave her some insight and a plan of action for the next time. So it's pretty awesome. Did I answer your question? I was just starting to share stories with you. But yeah, emotion code's amazing. It is awesome that we are able to communicate with our subconscious mind, even that I can communicate with somebody I don't know across the world. I think one of my most favorite stories is the first time I was in my certification program and practicing, and we had to work with so many people to get our certification, and I was working with somebody I didn't know, and he lived on the East Coast and I live here in Hawaii. And at the time of our scheduled appointment, he was going to be at a birthday party. So I said, well, what if I do this remotely and I will take all the notes I can find, from the session, and I will send it to you after. He said, sure. So what I did was I took all the notes, and what I found was shocking, because I didn't know him and I didn't want to give him this information, thinking that, what is he going to say? What if what I'm saying is all baloney and it's not even true? So I was hesitant, but because the depth of what I was finding was, to me, kind of heavy, very heavy. But because I didn't understand it either. In any case, I sent him the email and I was sitting there waiting for his response for like 2 hours. I was like, please let me know if this was accurate. And then he responded. He said, oh my God. He goes, yeah, when I was 3 years old, this is what happened. And he remembered his youth, because he said he was raised in a cult. And these are the things that happened to him. And because I had found this abuse was happening in the church. And I was like, oh my God, I hope this is not true. And then what he reported back to me, it was accurate. And I was like, wow, I'm able to work with somebody I don't know. And I don't even need to be with him to work with him. I'm connected to him.
Yeah. And I think it doesn't matter what modality someone uses, because I think, as my advice would be, find someone that you resonate with. Yes, you do emotion code and I do hypnosis. So for the clients, for the people out there that are struggling, find someone that you resonate with. It doesn't have to be what we do, but find something that resonates with you, because you don't have to struggle. Your life is and can be absolutely extraordinary. All you have to do is say yes to yourself. And as I say, your emotion code and my hypnosis work remotely. I don't have to be in the same room as you. I work with clients all over the world over Zoom. And for some people, that actually is a preferable way of doing things, because they can sit in the comfort of their own home, in their pajamas, in bed, totally relaxed. They don't have to go anywhere, and I don't have to be in the same room as you are. It's like you say, we are connected energetically. And yes, some people do not understand, and I'm still getting my head wrapped around that one. It still, it kind of blows my mind sometimes, the way we are connected. But we are, our brain is absolutely fascinating, and I'm just blown away by how powerful machines we are.
Yes.
And what the mind can do for us. And I mean, the biggest thing is we misuse the power of our brain unknowingly, because no one does it knowingly. No one wakes up in the morning and thinks, how can I screw up my life today? We don't do that. Unfortunately, it's an automatic behavior that we've learned over the years, but it doesn't have to be that. You can absolutely break that cycle, and you can stop with you.
Exactly. And that's, I mean, we don't even realize that some people, some that I work with, have hundreds of generations of inherited emotions that, you know, when we release them, imagine the thousands of people that it's affected, maybe tens of thousands of people that lives are changed because of it, because of you doing the healing work. You're able to help your children, their children, your parents, you know, so it's powerful.
It is, because, you know, it's not like that, you know, my mom deliberately messed me up. She did the best she could with what she had. You know, my grandma grew up during the Second World War. I can only imagine the psychological damage someone, you know, can experience during that. So now I understand that she did the best she could, but I stopped the cycle with me. I made a choice. And it is really powerful. So kind of not taking too much of your time, Gina, because I know that it's really late for you, but I want to ask you one more question. I've learned over the last few years, as I kind of stepped into my on my journey of personal development, I've learned that the way we love ourselves and the way we treat ourselves is an absolute key to create what we want in our life. Because I'm someone who, I didn't love myself. I didn't see myself as enough in the past. It was a massive problem for me that I didn't even realize that I had. Things were just playing out in my life in ways that I was like, hi, what? I was basically a victim of my life. Just be honest, you know, be transparent. But I've learned how to love myself and how to step up to the plate. Can you tell me, from your perspective, what do you think about the importance of loving ourselves in all interactions, in the way we show up, the way we build businesses?
Oh, wow. Well, love is a high frequency emotion. It comes in at 500 hertz. And they say that we should, you know, we can only love others as much as we love ourselves. So we hear so much about unconditional love and, you know, and all that. And how do we do this? How do we love ourselves in that manner? And I really believe it comes from knowing yourself and accepting yourself and forgiving yourself for the past, for whatever it was that you did or did not do. And just sinking into a lot of gratitude, a lot of joy, you know, and just living in a higher frequency life, you know, high vibe life. And when you do that, when you have this love for yourself, you're able to give more to others and get out of the ego, you know, ditch the ego, be of more service to others. And when you give, you actually receive.
I totally agree with you, because knowing who I am, it really helped me in accepting myself for who I am and as I am, and dealing with past as well. Forgiving myself, forgiving my mom, and a lot more that I had to do. But definitely that is a start. And living in gratitude. And like you say, service, because my heart literally fills with joy every time I work with a client and I can see the good that came out of that one and how that person can expand and have a much better life. I think it's the best high is there. I think.
I agree. I love it. I love to see them perk up, because when we have the lower frequency, the heavy emotional baggage that we carry around, we're not feeling very good. We might feel sorrow or grief or anger or frustration or whatever. And then when I'm in a session with someone, I take their frequency and I'm able to monitor them literally lifting up, lifting up, becoming more, moving into that love zone, which is the goal. Yeah.
It is. Oh, I absolutely agree with you. So before we go, can you tell us where we can find you?
Sure. I'm on Instagram at emotioncode.energyhealing. And on Facebook, I am Gina Hansen 808, because that's my state. 808 is Hawaii.
All right. That's okay.
Zip code or telephone number prefix. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. Thank you very thank you very much for being here and having this wonderful conversation with me. It was a pleasure.
This was fun. Thank you so much for having me, Evelina.
Thank you. And we've had some technical issue before we started, but we got there.
Yes. Have a great night, everybody.
Oh, thank you. Bye.
Good morning.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.